This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, other it's Jeff Curtis. I welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, February the 15th. And I can't believe I hadn't done this in the first two February 15th birthday boys. I did Russell Martin, I did Gerald Green, but I didn't do Jagr for some strange reason. But anyhow, I'm doing Jagr. So he plays for Kladno in the Czech League. Yes, even though Jagr turns 51 years old today, February 15th. He's still playing hockey. Can you imagine? And this guy's 13 years older than I am. So he previously played in the NHL for many teams. I will talk about that. He even spent 3 years in the KHL and still came back to the NHL. And then he was actually assigned in 2018 to Kladno, and he's been playing in it. 35 professional seasons, 2,000 professional games. He actually has the most professional goals in history, taking down Wayne Gretzky and Gordie Howe's records. He's still second in points in NHL history, which is shocking. It's not Gordie Howe, it's Jagr behind Gretzky. He was the youngest player in the NHL when he started his rookie campaign, and then he was 45, so he had a 27-year career in which he went to the KHL. It's just shocking. So anyway, he was born in the Czech Republic, of course, Czechoslovakia, under Russian rule and all that. He would always keep a photo of Ronald Reagan in his school book to test the policies of the Soviet Union. He was good for the Czechs and at international level. In fact, he became the first Czech player to be drafted by the NHL without having to defect. The Iron Curtain was falling flat, and the Czechs didn't disagree with him being drafted. So he was allowed to enter the 1990 NHL draft, which was huge and all that. Olin Nolan was picked first overall by the Quebec Nordiques. He would be better off as a Shark in a sense. Peter Nedved, a fellow Czech, went second overall to Vancouver. He had a decent career. Keith Primo went third to the Red Wings. He was all right. And Mike Ricci went fourth to Philly. Decent. But the big cheese was Jaromír Jagr going fifth to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And it was just amazing and all that. He was the first Czech player present in the NHL draft with his government's blessings. So he was playing on a team with Mario Lemieux and a few other key vital cogs in the system. Jagr broke out. He was pretty good as a rookie. He wasn't the best, but you know what? It's just hard to believe. But yeah, Jagr in his first 2 seasons in the NHL helped the Penguins win the Stanley Cup. Amazing how you can do that. You start off your career and then you get to 2 straight championships and win them. So he's 20 years old when he scored the famous goal he scored a goal in the Stanley Cup Finals. I think he did in 91. I know in 92 he did that famous goal. He deked out the whole Chicago team and scored past that Belfort in Game 1. But anyway. Jagr tried to read the daily weather forecast. He was playing Scrabble to increase his English vocabulary. And Penguins fans actually thought that Jagr's name was an anagram for Mario Jr., as in the second guy. Jagr would do well for Pittsburgh. In fact, he won the Hart Ross Trophy in 95. Although it was with only 70 points because of the strike-shortened season. But yeah, Jagr won the scoring title, and then he put up 149 points, the most by a European-born player, beating Peter Stastny's record, if my memory serves me right. His 62 goals and 87 assists still are career highs. Well, you play in an offensive-minded league, and then all of a sudden you turn to defense thanks to the neutral zone trap. That's huge and all that. He still has the assist and points record for a right winger. That's amazing. So Jagr was given the Penguins captaincy in 98 after Ron Francis left for Carolina. So Jagr would prove his work. He even won 4 straight scoring titles from 98 to 2001, which is amazing. Like winning back-to-back scoring titles is hard in this age of the NHL, but he did it 4 straight times. In 99, he was the MVP / the Hart Trophy winner. And yeah, he was on that 98 Czech Republic team that won the gold medal at the first Olympics that allowed hockey professionals. Well, Russia, of course, using their Soviet-trained professionals, or amateur professionals, if you will, in the Olympics before that. Anyway, Jagr looked pretty good. There was a lot of issues. He couldn't get a scoring touch and was criticized about his relationship with Penguins head coach Ivan Hlinka. After all, they were from the Czech Republic. There was a lot of friction because Mario Lemieux came back from retirement unexpectedly. The Penguins had Lemieux and Jagr. And there was a lot of friction. And of course, the Penguins had financial problems. So they had to trade him away. So July 11, 2001, they traded him to Washington for 3 nobodies, that being Chris Beach, Michael Sivek, and Russ Lubachek. Anyway, Jagr put up 1,000 points as a Penguin. Only him and Lemieux did that. Of course, Crosby would take over. But anyway, that was before him. Washington signed him to a 7-year, $77 million contract. All sevens, baby. For $11 million a year. Unfortunately, Washington just didn't have it, all that. In his first season with the Caps, he wasn't even part of the top scoring list and didn't help his team make the playoffs. Fortunately, though, Washington got to the playoffs in 2003 thanks to Robert Lang coming in. Unfortunately, though, they got taken down by Tampa in the first round. Washington had problems. They had to unload their high-priced talent to save money. It was not a cost-cutting spree. It was just basically they needed to build the contenders. So they tried to spend time trading Jagr. But teams were not really willing to risk $11 million on Jagr. But they found a trading partner in January 2004, trading him to the Rangers for Anson Carter. And Washington would pay for of the $11 million per year. Anyway, he played for the Rangers, and then, the CBA was signed in lieu of the NHL labor disputes. So his salary was reduced to $7.8 million, the most allowed under the salary cap. So anyway, Jagr did help the Czechs win gold at the World Hockey Championships in 2005 during the strike season and became part of the Triple Gold Club, winning a Stanley Cup, Olympic gold medal, and a World Hockey Championship. Jagr shocked a lot of people by helping the Rangers make the 2006 playoffs and actually do quite well. The Rangers had missed the playoffs for 7 straight seasons before the 2006 season, and a lot of people said the Rangers were just terrible. All that. Unfortunately, Jagr got injured and the Devils swept the Rangers in the first round. He became the all-time leading point scorer among European-born players, beating the great Stan Mikita. Jagr broke the 100-point barrier in 2006 and became the only major right winger to do so. And then on March 29, 2006, he scored a goal against the Islanders, getting his 53rd goal of the season, breaking the record of 52 set by Adam Graves in 1994. Jagr almost had the goal scoring and the point scoring title, but was passed somehow by Joe Fornin and Johnny McGeechee respectively. So in the final week of the season, he didn't get any trophies and all that. So yeah, injuries would hurt him, all that. He did win a Lester B. Pearson Award for Most Outstanding Player, voted by the players, but the media voted the MVP, which was Joe Fornin. Anyway, Jagr was named captain of the 2006 Rangers and all that. Scored a 600th goal in his first season as captain, doing so. And got his 1,500th point that year. In fact, in 2007, he scored 30 goals for the 15th consecutive season, tying the great Mike Gardner's mark. So anyway, Jagr did what he needed to do. After the 2008 season, he was informed that the club would not give him a contract. And Jagr was considering going to Russia to finish his career. A lot of NHL teams actually tried to do it. All that. Jagr actually wanted to finish his career at HC Kladno. Unfortunately, he didn't. Well, he signed a 2-year deal with Avangard Omsk, paid $5 million annually. He was Avangard's captain. Unfortunately, though, Jagr was involved in the death of Alex Sharapanov. Now, Sharapanov and Jagr were talking about things, but Sharapanov collapsed onto Jagr on the bench, and that's when Sharapanov died of his heart attack, which was shocking. I mean, he was 19 years old, and the Rangers were mortgaging their future on this guy. So anyway, Jagr stated an interest in returning to the NHL. And said he was practicing harder. Edmonton was interested, but Jagr would stay in Russia until 2011 when he returned to the NHL and signed with Philly for a 1-year, $3 million contract, which was shocking because, the Penguins' cross-state rival. But in his debut game with the Flyers, he did get point number 1,600 and all that. He seemed to do well. And he helped the Flyers take out the Penguins in the 2012 playoffs before losing to the Devils. Then he signed another 1-year deal, this time with Dallas. And this time, Jagr was playing for a Western Conference team. It was hard. Montreal had been a choice, but Dallas was interested. So he could have went to Montreal. Wow. So he played for Kladno in the Czech League during the lockout and all that. He went back to the NHL after the lockout ended in January 2013. In fact, he hit 1,000 assists in that 2013 season, becoming the 12th player to do so, but the first non-Canadian to do so. Wow, that's amazing. Then at the quote-unquote trade deadline in 2013, he was traded to Boston for a few fringe players and a third-round pick. So he played for Boston and did okay. He got to the Stanley Cup Finals with the Bruins in 2013. In fact, he set a new record for the longest gap between finals appearances at 21 years, because the last time he was in the final was 92 in his sophomore season, and then he did 21 years. That's amazing. Jagr would face Chicago, the team that he beat for the 92 title, but unfortunately Chicago turned the tables and won 6 games. The Bruins didn't give him a contract, so the Devils signed him to a 1-year deal. Of course, Ranger fans were pissed off. And of course, with Ilya Kovalchuk heading to Russia for the money, Jagr was basically trying to fill Kovalchuk's shoes and all that. He was 41 years old, and it was unbelievable. But with the Devils, he did get his 700th career goal for the Devils when he scored against the Islanders. He ended up tying Yzerman for 6th all-time on the points list at the end of the 2013 season. Then he would go on as a Devil to put up some more stuff and all that. By the time he left the Devils, he was 5th on the all-time points list. Anyway, Jagr would be traded from the Devils to Florida for a second-round pick in 2015. So he tried his best with Florida and all that. He scored some goals and then kept signing with the Panthers. With the Panthers, he ended up being 4th. He got to 4th on the goals list, passing Marcel Dion. And then in February 2016, as a Panther, he surpassed Brett Hull for 3rd place on the goal list. Only Hal and Gretzky were ahead of him. And in March, he actually scored a big assist to get him 3rd place on the points list overall, behind Gretzky and Messier. He helped the Panthers make the 2016 playoffs, but they got taken out by the Islanders in 6 games. But Florida still kept him around. And in the 2016-17 season, he became 2nd in career points. Anyway. As a free agent, he wouldn't take a deal. close to the start of the 2017-18 season, Calgary decided to take an offer to him, giving him a 1-year deal. In fact, it was Jagr's 9th NHL team, but his first Canadian team. He wanted to play for a Canadian team and all that. Unfortunately, though, Jagr would only have 7 points in 22 games as a Flame. It was placed on waivers. It was assigned to Kladno, back in the Czech Republic, and that's where he's been playing ever since. So, anyway, he did what he could for the Czechs and all that. Jagr did have some gambling problems and all of that in the early 2000s. But yeah, you know, his father, well, Jagr Sr., owned a chain of hotels and actually was Kladno's president. Jagr wore number 68 throughout his career because of the Prague Spring. And you know how the Soviets rolled the tanks into Czechoslovakia and killed a lot of people. Anyway, Lou Lamoriello, when he was managing the Devils, had a law that no player could wear a number higher than 35, but he gave Jagr the exemption. So yeah, so he did what he did. Jagr is an Orthodox Christian. And his longevity spawned the fan group known as the Traveling Jagrs, a group of hockey fans from Calgary/Camrose. To share interest, they were wearing the sweater, hockey socks, and paint shells of 11 of Jagr's teams. Well, the 9 NHL teams, the NHL All-Star team, and the Czech national team, and long black wigs to Jagr's mullet. And all that. They got to see Jagr a lot when he was playing for the Flames. So anyway, Jagr is a national hero, especially at the Olympics in Japan, 1998, and helped them win the World Championships in 2005. So he has several NHL records. Most career game-winning goals, 135. Most points and assists by a right winger. Most single-season points and assists by a right winger. Most single-season points by a European, 149, European-born player, and assists with 87. Most career assists and points by a European player. Most consecutive 30-goal seasons, getting 15, which he shares with Mike Gardner and Alex Ovechkin. Longest gap between Stanley Cup Finals, 21 years, from 92 to 2013. Only player in Stanley Cup Finals history to play as a teenager and when he was over 40. And the oldest player to score a hat trick, 42 years, 323 days old. Many Penguins records. You know, he still owns a lot of Penguin records. Ranger records, he still holds the goals and points mark by a New York Ranger. 54 goals, 123 points, and all that. So, yeah, he's just amazing all that. He's 4th in goals, 5th in assists, and 3rd in points. No, 2nd in points, 6th in career points, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, 2 Stanley Cup champions, part of the all-rookie team, lots of all-star appearances, 5 Art Ross trophies, 95, 98, 99, 2000, and 2001. The MVP in 1999, and the Masterton in 2016. So yeah. So Jagr, many years with the Czechs and the NHL and all that. He played in the NHL for 1,733 games, scoring 1,921 points, 766 goals. In the playoffs, 201 points in 208 games, 78 goals, 123 assists. International superstar. Yeah, and he's still kind of playing and all that. So give Jagr his credit. I sure have. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.